go back to the day of the accident. First of all, tell us what you do. What's your job?
I'm a waitress at Recovery Sports Bar and Grill in Verona, and it was a Saturday night, and I was waitressing, normal night, goofing around, laughing, smiling, and do you want me to tell you everything now?
Yeah, everything.
And server had come running inside. She was running around frantically saying that she needed to get in the office. There was an accident and the girl was hardly breathing. And so instantly when I heard the word accident, I was compelled to find out where it was and go and pray. And so I didn't know where I was going or, what, where the accident was, or, if it was even inside or what. But she said outside, so I just ran outside, and it was right there. And the car had been pushed over into the grass near the lawn of where I work. So I just was compelled to go and pray and lay my hands over her and just start praying. And I don't know what I was praying, but I can just remember thanking God for His presence there over and over. And I'm a true believer in the power of prayer and healing, and that all things are possible with God. So I just put my faith first and started praying. And then the ambulance, it seemed it took them forever to get there, because we were also worried about her. She was completely smushed inside the car and was unconscious. Her eyes were in the back of her head, and she was struggling to breathe. You could tell that, she was hanging on by a thread. So it was very serious.
What made you feel when you were in the, you were working? I mean, what part of you said, I can help here?
My faith in Christ. Just knowing that I believe that He has us places at the right times, when things happen. And I believe that, the accident was right there, and God used me to just pray and lift her up to Him, And so not that I knew I couldn't help, like, get her out of the car or anything like that, but instantly I was compelled to pray.
And
so.
Can you kind of describe, it's not every day that you see an accident that is that brutal, that, truly, what were you seeing with your eyes? I know that you were focused on, on Kristen, but can you describe the scene a little bit about what it was like? It must have been devastating.
It was very traumatizing. I just remember looking at her, and she was so, beautiful, just beautiful. Her mouth was open. She has perfect teeth. She was just so gorgeous, and so it was devastating to see, someone so young and beautiful just be hanging on, barely hanging on. There wasn't any blood or anything, but she was like this, and her mouth just kept going up, open, and that really freaked me out, because she was, I thought maybe she was taking her last breaths. So the car was completely mangled. Her whole side of the window was completely shattered, and she was crushed into a place probably about this big. And so it was very traumatizing and scary. Everyone that we were was there, other workers and stuff, we knew her name, and they just kept saying, Kristen, hold on, Kristen, and we just kept saying Kristen, over and over, and trying to talk to her to keep her, alive. So
what happens next? The ambulance, paramedics arrive. Where are you in this whole scene?
By the time the ambulance and paramedics arrived, I had moved to the other side of the car, and they were out. I was holding open the driver's side of the car door, and they had to use the jaws of life to come and to cut her, to cut the car. Once they had cut the car up, they had realized that it would be safer for her to even come out the driver's side. So they, put the boards in and were able to get her out the driver's side. And it was freezing cold, and they got her up on, the bed, and then had stabilized her and put her in the thing, and then we went inside back to work.
But that wasn't the last time that you saw Kristen. Tell me, how does the process work of, you're here with this woman, you know her name, but you don't know her. How did you follow up, and what compelled you to follow up and, and see how she was doing?
I could not get her out of my head at all. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I wanted to know if she had made it. I knew that God was there. I knew the power of prayer, and I wanted to see what God had done, and, if she was alive and what happened, and I wanted to talk with her family, and I was just compelled to share with all of them just the hope of, God and His plan and His love for them, because it's not, just humanly normal to just have this overwhelming amount of love for people you don't know. And that comes from God. And so I had called up at Upstate to try and get, any information on her or anything, but, since I didn't know her, they weren't allowing me to know anything. So I just kept praying. And that night at the accident, I had texted, sent a wide text to churches, people that I know, for prayer chains. And she was on, I can't even tell you how many people were praying instantly. Many churches were praying through a prayer chain. And when you send something out through a prayer chain, it notifies a big group of people. So there were many groups of people praying for her instantly, which was so encouraging to me. And so a couple weeks passed, and that night I had messaged you and her brothers, and
on Facebook.
On Facebook, yep. Thank goodness for Facebook. I looked up her name, and I knew exactly what she looked like. So I found her family. I messaged her brothers and her stepmom, and eventually I found Tracy, her mother, and then I was able to get in contact with them and be able to go up and see her at the hospital.
What did they say when you contacted them? I'm sure they didn't even know you existed,
Right.
And they certainly did not expect to hear from you. What was their reaction when they heard from you?
Tracy was so loving, and she, encouraged me to come up and see them, and they wanted to meet me, and so that was exciting for me, to get to, be able to connect with them and just share my faith with them, and so that was awesome.
And what was it like when you saw her for the first time? I mean, I'm sure she doesn't look exactly like what you saw in the car was probably extremely different than what you see now. Can you kind of describe the difference?
When I went to see her, she wasn't awake. Well, she was a little bit awake, barely. But she, had tubes and was hooked up to all the machines and everything. And I just remember walking in and seeing her family and trying to hold back so many tears, It was just so heartbreaking for me. And I just gave her mom a great big hug, and I was able to just talk with them, and I wanted to pray with Kristen again, and so they allowed me to pray with her again that day, and I just left there knowing, this wasn't the end, that I don't know, I just had a place in her life. So the idea of a benefit kept coming over me the first time I had left, and I thought, no way, I can't do a benefit, so I started praying about it, and then I had went up and visited her again, and I just, connected really well with Tracy and Mike, and I got to pray with Kristen again, and I left there that day, and the idea of the benefit came over me again, and so I just started praying, and I knew, I'm like, I can't do a benefit, but decided, okay, well, if God wants me to do this, I'm going to do it, and so here I am. Hi, Chris.
So, what made you think that you couldn't do a benefit? What was sort of holding you back at first? Did you feel like it wasn't your place?
That, and I've never done anything like this before. I've only planned my kids' birthday parties and and stuff, and a little bit of my wedding, but a benefit was a very overwhelming thought, and so I just started praying, and that idea never left me, and I know that when God calls you to do something, He will provide, and that is just what He's done. Her parents, when I even threw the idea at them, that I had wanted to do this, and they said, okay, well, we think this is a good idea. I knew that, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And I had just went to a benefit. One of my best friends, her fiance, has a brain tumor, and they had a benefit for him, and it was an amazing turnout. And so I've had the guidance of them and in this. So I had everyone really in place to kind of help me organize and do it all. And then the amount of help that everyone has just come forward and helped, and everything has just fallen into place. And the donations, we have a $500 donation coming in from a man who doesn't even know Kristen. And so it's just amazing to see, everyone coming together and doing it.
Kind of talk a little bit about the details of the benefit and, what it's for. I mean, really, what you're trying to accomplish here.
At the benefit, we're trying to accomplish raising money for Kristen and her family. The amount of medical bills, I can't even begin to imagine what they're faced with. And so I wanted to just have this to also just encourage them in this dark time, this thing that they're going through, for everyone to come together and just show their support and love for this family and raise money to help them. So,
what was their reaction when you told them you wanted to do this?
Well, Tracy said, "Okay, well, I'll get back to you," and she discussed it, with her family, and then got back to me and said, I think this wouldn't be a bad idea. And so then it was on. Then I started making contacts, and we ended up, finding a place. It took a little bit, but finding, that we would do it at Sharkey's, and Sharkey's was actually somewhere that Kristen went with her friends and is very well known. Come to find out, she is well known everywhere. She was, the stories that I've just have heard about her, the kind of person that she was, that she would do anything for anyone, and that, just made me even more want to help and be there for them and for her.
This is a great story. I mean, I think what everyone is going to be shocked by is it's not every day that you see an accident and even really stop, or if you feel like you can't contribute medically or physically, you don't even know where to begin. And not only did you feel compelled to be there, but you have kept in touch with her in a very close way, and in a way that's truly in benefit of her and her family. I mean, what do you think, how does this fulfill your life? I mean, it really is truly a unique and beautiful quality, and there aren't many people out here like you. There aren't. What do you think makes you this way, and how does it make your life more fulfilling and more meaningful?
Well, it's my faith in Jesus Christ that makes me this way. I have, you know, a compassion that I didn't always have until my life started being transformed by my faith. And that love comes from my faith and this compassion for people. And I know that He loves Kristen so much, and He has such a beautiful plan for her life. You know, He spared her life for a purpose and a reason, and He's not finished with her yet. And I am just so blessed by this experience to have been used by God to be, you know, there for someone, to be able to love on someone and someone's family who are going through such a difficult time. And I look forward to our ongoing relationship. You know, I look forward to a friendship with Kristen, and I look forward to the day when she speaks and she walks, because I have faith that she will. And so it's just been an amazing, amazing experience. And I'm going to cry now. Sorry.
No, you're doing great. I think we're done with that portion of the interview. You did a great job.
Okay.